So guys, Nnamdi Kanu has officially contacted Donald Trump. I'm going to read out the message he officially sent to Donald Trump. Remember, yesterday it was revealed that Bola Tinubu's government has actually concluded plans to either sentence him to death or life imprisonment. It was actually revealed by Yellow Sowore yesterday. And today, officially, Nnamdi Kanu wrote to Donald Trump. I'm not going to waste your time. Now, let me read out the letter he sent to Donald Trump. I missed everything. Remember, last night, Donald Trump sent a direct message and warning to Bola Tinubu that if in fact he's going to come to the country and probably set his soldiers foot on ground to come and eliminate the Islamic terrorists, and told Bola Tinubu that if he do not stop this, and he's going to do this. Now Nnamdi Kanu has taken the opportunity to equally tell Donald Trump, look at the travails and the suffering and injustice he's actually facing. Now let us read. As you can see on the screen, please pay attention. This is a very huge news. It's a Nnamdi Kanu detained at the State Security Service SSS headquarters in Abuja. His Excellency Donald Trump, the 47th President of the United States of America, the White House, he said, Your Excellency, I extend warm greetings to you in the name of the Judeo-Christian faith and values we both hold there. As a practicing Jew and a believer in the Judeo-Christian heritage that shaped Western civilization, I was honored to attend your campaign event in Des Moines, Iowa, in January 2020. Your bold declaration on October 31st, 2025, that the United States is prepared to act militarily and cut aid if Nigeria fails to protect its Christian population, has ignited hope in the hearts of millions who have been abandoned by the world. You have seen the truth. Christians in Nigeria face an existential threat. I write to you now to reveal that this genocide is not confined to the north. It has metastasized into the Igbo heartland, where Judeo-Christians are being systematically exterminated under the guise of counter-terrorism. I am Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, a peaceful and non-violent civil rights movement rooted in Judeo-Christian principles. Since 2015, I have suffered 4 documented assassination attempts by the Nigerian state. On 20th June 2021, I was forcibly abducted from Kenya in an extraordinary rendition operation, an act that violated Kenyan and international law. As condemned by a Kenyan court ruling, petition number, despite this ruling, I was illegally transported to Nigeria and thrown into solitary detention in Abuja without a valid substituting charge, and for the sole crime of defending my people's right to life, faith, and self-determination under the international law. On 13th October 2022, the Court of Appeal in Abuja discharged and acquitted me of all charges, ruling that my rendition was illegal, unconstitutional. He went ahead to say something. He said, and a gross violation of international law. The court ordered my immediate and unconditional release, yet I remain in solitary detention over 1,596 days since my abduction. That the Nigerian government defied its own judiciary, refusing to release me as ordered. I was never released, so there was no rearrest, only continued unlawful imprisonment in blatant violation of constitutionally protected double jeopardy safeguards under Section 36(9) of the 1999 Constitution and African Charter Act. He said the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention declared my continued imprisonment arbitrarily unlawful and politically motivated. He went ahead to say something. This is not justice. This is a state capture of the rule of law to silence a Judeo-Christian voice, a hidden genocide against Judeo-Christians in eastern Nigeria. The same extremist-backed forces you have condemned in the North Boko Haram, ISWAP and Fulani militia operate with state complicity in the southeast and Igbo-speaking territories of Benue, Kogi, and Delta. But here, the Nigerian military itself is the primary perpetrator, shielded by a false narrative that blames victims. These atrocities are irrefutably documented. He now went ahead to list the atrocities which he claimed that the Nigerian military perpetrated. He said, Mpo Biafra Heroes Day Massacre on 30th May of 2016, and listed the groups, like the Amnesty groups and the UN reporter that actually reported that particular stuff. He went ahead to talk about the National High School Aba massacre, or the massacres that actually happened in the Southeast. He went ahead to name the Operation Python dance that came to his house and chased him away and made his parents to die and all that, and Obibo massacre that occurred in October 2020 during the NSAS protest. He went ahead to mention the Port Harcourt Iguacha Trump solidarity rally and all that actually happened, and how they were actually massacred and cool. He now went ahead to say that the architect of these crimes, being Lieutenant General Tuko Yusuf Brutai, former chief of army staff in 2021, President Buhari appointed him ambassador to Benin, granting him diplomatic immunity to evade ICC prosecution. This is a state-sponsored impunity on genocidal scale. Weaponization of insecurity to demonize IPOB. He said, since my illegal rendition, Nigeria has declared IPOB a terrorist organization despite zero evidence of violence, confirming by the U.S. State Department 2021. Orchestrated unknown government attacks using state-backed militia, then blamed IPOB, killed over 2,000 Igbo youth in counter-terrorism operations. He said, this is Rwanda's playbook. Create chaos, blame the victim, justify extermination. A call to you, President Trump. You said America will act. Now is the moment. I respectfully urge you to, number one, launch a US-led independent inquiry into state-sponsored massacre of Judeo-Christians in eastern Nigeria, with full access to mass graves, military logs, and survivor testimonies. Convene emergency congressional hearings on the Igbo Christian genocide, featuring the 13th October 2022 Court of Appeal judgment discharging me and the disobedience of the government. Impose targeted Magnitsky Act sanctions on Tuko Burutai, DSS Director Bin Yusuf Bichi, and Southeast military commanders, including implicated in Obibo. So Nnamdi Kanu is asking Donald Trump to place sanctions on these particular people he named. He went ahead to say that that Trump should support an international supervised referendum on self-determination for the Igbo people. The only peaceful path to ending this circle of violence is affirmed by the African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights. In closing, Nnamdi Kanu said, Mr. President, history will judge us by what we do when genocide knocks. You have the power. He said, you have the power to stop a second Rwanda in Africa. One tweet, one sanction, one inquiry could save millions. I remain steadfast in peace, faith, and non-violence. Even from a prison cell, IPOB rejects every form of violence. We seek only justice, truth, and freedom. May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who delivered Israel from Pharaoh, grant you wisdom and courage to deliver his people once again, with deepest respect and urgent hope. Nnamdi Kanu. You could see the letter that Nnamdi Kanu actually sent to Donald Trump. It's actually a very comprehensive one. So we'll see how things unfold if Donald Trump is really going to act on this particular letter, because like I said, that there is heavy tension in the land, there is heavy tension in Nigeria, and the federal government is running helter-skelter because one, they've been complicit in a lot of things, especially the insecurity situations in the country. Well, meanwhile, let me play a video of the pastor who actually started this Christian genocide, especially in the northern part of the country. This particular pastor is the real pastor in the country, and not all these tithe collecting pastors that are only interested in collecting tithe and all that. Now let me play a brief video for you to listen to what he said. And remember, he came out and equally started raising alarm that some northern governors are allowing terrorists to come to their communities after he made that particular, or after he raised the alarm and got the attention of Trump. That now that some northern leaders are allowing terrorists to, come to their communities to actually attack them. Let me play this particular video. When we come back, we try to analyze more issues there.
Sleep? How can I sleep? I have spoken, and God has broken the power of the sickness that was in me, so that he will keep me alive to come and speak on behalf of his people. My fellow brothers, United Kingdom, I'm begging you to Asoro. I'm begging you to Washington, D.C., White House. Bush should address Trump. Trump should address, please, his focus into Nigeria, because terrorism is taking over Nigeria. They are busy inviting people from Central Africa, Senegal, and other places to come and take over the country. If somebody will tell you that things are normal in this nation, Nigeria, he's a liar. And I can't keep quiet. If I was able to survive cancer in India, I will survive another cancer. That's the Fulani terrorists. I will survive it. Look at me now. I'm going to the village. I have to suspend the...
So from the video, you can see how brave that particular man of God is. I know this is the kind of people a lot of Christians are actually following the country. People like Adeboye, they've been hearing about this massacre. People that own all these kind of big churches that collect tithes on a monthly basis. But they don't want to speak anything because, one, these are businesses to them. They don't want their businesses to be affected. Most of them are keeping quiet. Most of them, are gaining a lot of benefit from the government. So they don't want to speak out. Meanwhile, in the face of persecution, most of them are keeping short. This particular pastor has kept on. In fact, he was one of the pastors that got the attention of Trump. He did a video when he was burying people that were massacred by these Islamic terrorists. He showed them the mass grave. And on a daily basis, he has kept on showing the killing, the destruction of churches. But you keep on wondering, is the body of Christ even one in this country, or this is just a business avenue for them? Because people are expecting people like, Adepoye and co to even, raise their voice and equally join in this particular cause to stop the killing of Christians, especially in some other vulnerable areas in the northern part. But they will not say anything because they don't want their churches and their businesses to be actually affected. But, kudos to this particular man. Because these are the kind of revolutionaries and people we need, and ministers we need. People that will speak through to power. People that will not mince words because of what they are benefiting or probably what they are getting from the government. He's actually telling Donald Trump this straight. And you can see the alarm he raised. That a spoken Plateau State clergyman, being Reverend Ezekiel Dochoma, has alleged that due to the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by the United States, President Donald Trump, some politicians have imported Fulani terrorists into the state to kill as many Christians as possible. This is no joke. The man is raising valid alarms. And the funny thing about this government is that they will not be proactive to caution or probably protect these people. No. They are busy dishing out propaganda, thinking that they can deceive the United States. But they don't know that this government, being the Donald Trump government, has actually gathered the intelligence on the persecution of Christians in the country. They did this for over 10 years. So it's not something you can just wake up one morning and tell them there is no persecution. It's not something you can just wake up one morning and say there is no persecution of Christians. These people have their details, they have their data, they have their figures, and they have their facts. So they've been gathering all these things with different, groups. Some of them are NGO groups that come into the country. You don't know that they are carrying out investigations, and you think you can just, because of political reasons, discard the fact that there is persecution of Christians in the country. Meanwhile, let me equally show you what Sheikh Gumi said, who is a terrorist, trying to pamper terrorists. Let me just play the video. When we come back, we'll try to analyze more issues there.
We don't want to push them into that terror beyond what they are doing now, because yes, it can get worse. They have shown us their willingness to negotiate. So people that are ready to negotiate, why are you rushing to just declare them bandits so that you can use whatever weapons you bought? Before, they used to catch Boko Haram and present them to the authorities in Zamfara. But now they're all terrorists. Secondly, the only door that remains, that is we clergy to go in and negotiate with them, is closed now permanently.
From the video you just watched, you can listen to what Shegun is saying, that why are we rushing to declare bandits and all these Islamic as terrorists, that there are people that are ready to negotiate. These kind of people are actually working free. Why Nnamdi Kanu is actually in detention? You keep on wondering, will Nigeria ever work? Because one, you can see the bias. People like Sheikh Gumi that has been advocating for bandits, that have been, siding or probably taking the sides of bandits. You keep on wondering, what is even wrong with this country? He has not been questioned. He has not been arrested by the DSS. It's not anywhere. He said, why are we declaring those Islamic fundamentalists as terrorists? That people should keep on negotiating with them. For how long will he keep on negotiating with terrorists? Has he ever brought any change? It's because he's been sympathetic, or probably he's been a kind of emotional for his own Islamic brothers. And this man has been saying that there is nothing like Christian genocide and all that. But meanwhile, he wants the federal government to keep on negotiating with Islamic brothers. And this is the truth. I've told people that if you snooze, you lose. This is a battlefield. Nigeria, as a matter of fact, is a battlefield. These Islamic clerics, and most of them are up there in the north as sympathizers of these terrorist groups. So that is why they don't want the United States to come. Because tell me why they are even scared at first. That the United States said, we are coming to assist the government to eliminate, in quote, only the Islamic terrorists, immediately this Shegumi became angry. Most Northerners became angry. Keep on wondering, why are you angry? They put, or probably what Trump is saying, or what US is saying, is not saying that they are going to come to eliminate you. Only the Islamic terrorists. So unless you people are the Islamic terrorists or fundamentalists, that is when you people should be scared. But from all the indication, from their body language, comments, and reactions to this, it only points out to one thing, that most of them are terrorist sympathizers, and most of them are even terrorists, or let me use the word baby terrorists, over there in the northern part of this particular country, because there's no mixing of words on this. There's no. Shegumi has released countless number of statements. Shegumi has released countless number of statements, more than he has released statements condemning the killing of Christians, especially in the Middle Belt and other areas. And that shows you one thing, that everybody knows what they are doing, and he himself knows what he's doing. He knows why he's advocating for those Islamic fundamentalists, because he doesn't want them to get hurt, and probably doesn't want them to get killed. So he doesn't want insecurity to end, because like I said, it's a business for Shegumi. You could see him in several positions or places, negotiating with bandits, even taking money to bandits. Keep on wondering, they are taking our resources to settle bandits, and they are giving these bandits money to buy more weapons to terrorize communities. Is it not counterproductive? Because make it make sense that you say you are negotiating with bandits, at the end of the day you place those bandits on salary. When every month you give them money, they use that money to go and purchase weapons to terrorize the same communities, so that you can increase their budget and all that. And Shegumi is working free. He has kept on advocating for these terrorists and these Islamic terrorists, which literally makes no sense. Well, I love what the United States is doing. As of today, the United States, as a matter of fact, called on the White House to impose sanctions on Nigerian officials and 12 states for practicing Sharia and blasphemy laws. Like I've often said it here, that Sharia law and blasphemy law has no place in any secular country like Nigeria. If you admit that Nigeria is a secular country, fine. If you don't admit, if you say Nigeria is an Islamic country, then divide the country. Let the Christians go and form their own land. You can take your Nigeria with your Islamic state and all that. If you can even limit the Islamic state of Nigeria. But provided you call Nigeria a secular country, the Sharia law shouldn't have any place, even in the constitution. But it is being practiced in almost all the northern states. And it's not just affecting the Muslims, it's equally affecting the Christians and non-Muslims over there in that particular locality. So US is actually placing sanctions on those 12 states for practicing Sharia and blasphemy. Blasphemy law is the reason why those that killed Deborah has not been prosecuted to today. Most people that kill people over there in the north for blasphemy are not prosecuted, are not taken to court, because